Happy birthday to you. It was yesterday. Happy birthday to you. Still yesterday. Happy birthday.
Okay.
Oh, baby. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. Buddy, happy freaking fracking birthday.
Thank you.
Big 4-0.
I'm 40 now.
How's it feel? Bad.
It was weird. Yesterday, I turned 40, and I got a notification from YouTube that said, you're too old to do this shit. Nobody's gonna want to watch you anymore now. You washed up has-been.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a mean birthday message, YouTube, but whatever.
Thanks.
Whatever. Honestly, I feel great.
Okay, that's good.
Actually, I'm tired today. I had a little whiskey last night for my birthday, you know.
As you should.
Yeah. But I feel really good. I'm a father, so I feel like I'm in the area of being like 40. But then like I'll look at somebody like Jason Kelce on TV or Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like Jason Kelce's younger than me. And I'm like, that guy is so much more of a man than I am.
Yeah, I get that.
And I still feel like I'm like a 22-year-old kid. The way I present myself. Like I don't feel like an adult still, if that makes sense. Like if I were to be in a room with Jason Kelce, I feel like I would be looking up to him as like the adult. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
I was like thinking about that yesterday. I was like, I'm 40, but why do I still not feel like a man? Like a grown man.
I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's kind of just like, hey, you got the age there, but keep on rocking. You just keep on rocking.
Holtz Fitzpatrick, what's he? He's 41, so he's
okay. So he's older.
He could still be a father figure.
Yes, I will be your father figure.
Yeah.
Hey,
but today, all right, GPS, big day. We're having a guest on. Drew Lynch is coming on to talk to us. Comedian Drew Lynch, big Colts fan. He took me to the Colts Broncos game, that Thursday night game. So he texted me happy birthday yesterday, and I was like, oh, you just made a mistake, buddy, because now I'm going to make you come on GPS and talk about Anthony Richardson. Because he said my gift to you is Richardson getting benched. So I was like, Colts fans got to have some mixed feelings about it. So excited to talk to Drew. And if you want to listen to GPS, we are a podcast as well. Those links are below. Spotify, Apple. Those are the only two places I know.
Sure.
So anyway,
the poop's going to start just falling out now. You used to be walking around the house and it's going to be like a deer. Once you hit past 40, it just falls out like on the ground. You start wearing really loose pants. It just comes out of your pants sleeves. It's pretty bad. But
the poops stay in there.
That's good. Got to tighten up. Yeah, a lot happened yesterday. We got some trades that happened yesterday. Vikings trying to go and get a left tackle. You got the Ravens adding Dionte Johnson. Because we're getting close to that trade deadline. It's less than a week away now. And I'm curious to see, we're talking about the Lions. We're talking about all these other teams that could potentially make a move and try to get somebody else. I don't think there's going to be any crazy blockbuster ones.
No.
But I see moves like yesterday happening. And man, we'll talk about the Colts, but the Panthers, man, Bryce Young is going to get the start for at some point for the rest of the season. Who does he have to throw? I know he's throwing the ball to, but
there you go. You don't have Dionte Johnson anymore. Here's the great thing. So Johnson goes to the Ravens. I do remember the Ice Age. Nobody was bitching about global warming then. I'll tell you what, Doc XD, global warming made up by the lizard people. The lizard people made up global warming, right?
Oh, you've been talking to Danica Patrick again. Got it. All right. Got it.
How did Aaron Rodgers let the one that was crazier than him go? That's what I want to know. How did he let her go? So Dionte Johnson's going to the Ravens. Broncos play the Ravens. He's got a chance to lose to the Broncos twice, just like Devontae Adams got to lose to the Steelers twice. But I don't think Johnson was active in the Broncos-Panthers game because they were going to trade him. So
it's like Devontae Adams, who could have lost to the Steelers 2 times in a row, right?
I knew it, Jordan.
I'm at like too old.
Yeah, too old.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, for the Ravens, like looking at that, because Ravens obviously losing on Sunday against Cleveland, and it's more of like their defense you look at, which was problematic. One, they can't freaking hold on to interceptions, but you worry about that. And I think now they're going, okay, we'll just outscore them. Every single dropped interception that the defense has, we'll just have another catch on offense. And maybe that'll even itself out. It didn't work out for the 15-1 Packers, but maybe this could work out here. Maybe.
Yeah. I think the Ravens were just like, which receiver is the best at catching footballs in the sun? Give us the guy who can catch a football while looking directly into the sun. And that also just happens to be Dionte Johnson.
It's a skill. It's on the resume. So I get it.
My back went out Sunday. Dude, my back started going out at 30.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah. Honestly, riding a bike has helped my back more than anything.
That's great.
So it keeps like those muscles, I think, loose.
Wait a minute.
And strong.
Hold on. Can you stand up for a second? Show me your chair.
Oh, you mean my back pillow?
Okay. Yeah. So, Brandon, I'm going to tell you, that's going to be my birthday gift to you. I'm going to buy you a chair.
No, this chair's good.
Yeah.
It's very good. That pillow there just fills in this nice little gap.
I'm going to buy you a chair for your birthday. I'm going to buy you a chair.
Don't be buying me a chair.
I'm going to
buy you something for your birthday that happened a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that's all right. No, you don't have to. No, it's not a tit for tat.
I do.
No, I constantly owe you, for you said yes to Packcast in 2015, so I'm still paying you back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I changed it all.
That's how that works. But yeah, I mean, I think this obviously makes the offense. Dionte Johnson's a good receiver, and I don't think he's not going to come in and be wide receiver 1 or anything. But I think it gives him another option there, and he definitely is a playmaker. I think the more interesting one is the Vikings, trying to replace Christian Darrisaw, which I don't know if they're going to be able to, but Cam Robinson is going to helps, at least kind of getting somebody there. For the Jaguars, I wonder what the hell that is going to look like, but I think the Vikings are just trying to be like, okay, it was a rough week for us. We went from number 1 and undefeated to now 3rd, and the only reason we're in 3rd and not 4th is because the Bears lost on a Hail Mary. They're trying to kind of preserve that momentum and that early lead in the season to see if it could still make them competitive going forward and compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah, it's a little interesting that the Jags traded away a starting tackle. Cam Robinson was their starting tackle. So Trevor Lawrence got to be like, hey, wait, what? Huh?
Don't worry, I'll make your job harder. It's fine.
We're sending him to the Vikings? I'm not saying like Cam Robinson has been like great. He's kind of had like up and down since, being drafted by the Jags. But I like Minnesota going all in, saying, hey, we believe we can keep winning. We're in a playoff race. We've got so many pieces together. Let's not let losing this one guy be the reason that we don't continue to win. So
sure.
I think that's a good trade for the Vikings.
I think Perna had the yup, I'm 40 moment in his 30s. I think. It might have been that football game a couple weeks ago.
He got benched. Okay.
Oof. Don't worry, Vikings. I'll save everything. Don't you worry. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people getting benched. Yeah, I'm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we'll talk about it more with Drew, but Anthony Richardson getting benched. I'm curious on your thoughts because you mentioned that it's kind of divisive with the fan base because you do have like a very vocal section that is, hey, the team that we have right now, like we can win football games. Like Joe Flacco has shown that. And they ain't pretty, but they can win football games. And it's a matter, and McAfee went off on Richardson. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw like clips of it and seeing, the response.
Yeah, I watched some of that.
And I think that
he copied us basically. Anyway,
I think it's more of you look at everybody agrees he needs reps, but I think the fundamental disagreement is, okay, does that come at the expense of this season? Right? Because if you are because I think everybody and their mother knew when they drafted Anthony Richardson, it was going to be they're going to have to develop him. And I feel like this is part of that development. And now it's trying to have it both ways of when you have Jordan Love sitting for 3 years and that gets mocked, but then it works out pretty well. Well, now, okay, let's sit him now. Now he deserves to be sad he's not playing as well, et cetera, et cetera. That development needs to happen more than just on the field.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that is maybe where the Colts have not done the best job. And yeah, they can win with Joe Flacco right now, but I'm going to be very honest with you, Brandon. What does that mean for the Colts? I don't think they're winning a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. Like, I don't think the Colts are a world-beating team right now. So yeah, you might even be able to get a wild card spot with Joe Flacco, but what the hell does that mean then for Anthony Richardson? Is he going to sit for the season? Then you try again next year when that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So it's just a very odd thing. And I love that you pulled up that tweet because, I mean, you get frustrated with the Packers, bro, but that's why I'm like the biggest fan of you draft them and you sit them for a while. But there needs to be development there.
It really depends on the player. It depends on the quarterback, the situation. There's a lot to think about when you're talking about developing young quarterbacks. And I feel like we're going to be talking a lot about the NFL and how they develop young quarterbacks because of this benching. Only 2 weeks younger. Because, like, okay, so you have this, right? You have all these guys here. And then you've got a counterpoint with all of these guys starting, right? Yeah. And guys like Brock Purdy went to a very good situation. CJ Stroud wasn't like the Texans were a great situation, but they had just become a good situation. We just didn't know yet. I think they got the right head coach there. They had a nice draft. Everything worked out. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. He's just an insane talent. Hurts kind of sat for a little bit there with the Eagles, right? Yep. So I don't think the NFL necessarily has a development problem for young QBs, but I think what the NFL really has is a coach firing problem. So if you're a head coach and you're not getting results and you've been given a young quarterback, your job is at stake. So like Shane Steichen's got to get wins. And then the other thing you're thinking about is how is the locker room feeling about this situation? Because yes, you do need to kind of go through the bumps and bruises of having a young quarterback. But if your locker room feels like the other guy is going to give you a chance to win and they're not really on board with losing with Richardson when they know Flacco's there, and it's probably outside of maybe Watson's ego and his soft demeanor of having Flacco behind him, like the Colts are in a similar situation, right? The Browns, like, we don't want Joe Flacco here because he's maybe too much of a threat to Watson, and we really have to try to make this work with Watson, even though like signs are pointing to hell, literally. So Bryce Young got benched, and I think here's a difference for me. I think Bryce Young needed to sit down for a little bit because the game definitely looked too big for him.
It's a height joke.
Yeah. Richardson, I feel like you should be starting. And I think it's because he has played so little football. It's like, whoa, you're wasting time. And you're right. Like, I don't think the Colts are going to the Super Bowl. Yes, maybe playoffs, but like, wouldn't you rather be going into next season going, hey, it wasn't pretty, but we feel good about Richardson now. or
not.
Richardson is clearly not developing like at all for us, and we'll make some changes we'll extend Joe Flacco. Like,
Sure.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Perna got a fitty real quick before I address that.
Ooh, Stefon. You know what?
Stefon? You want to hit him up, Perna? Where you want me to do it?
Oh, no. I'm going to pick the exact.
You're the birthday boy. You get to pick whatever clip you want.
Thankfully, me, I don't watch porn. I've never been into any weird kinky stuff.
Yeah, pretty much everybody eats bread.
Maybe you should try it, Rodgers.
Bread?
No, porn. I want Rodgers to say, I started watching porn and New York Jets, we started winning football. Clearly not working, buddy.
No, I think so. I want to look at this list too, because I think that this list obviously is handpicked the quarterbacks that they're looking for, right? I think that you see some of these guys who have gotten opportunities, like Kenny Pickett, right? Like, let's start at the bottom of the list. Kenny Pickett is with Mike Tomlin, who was like, all right, like we're going to try everything, and it just wasn't working. And they tried. They definitely tried to make it work. And he's a backup right now. Sure. So like, I think there also is, hey, like some of these guys have gotten opportunities or have been in good places where QBs develop. Like Trey Lance is a great example. The 49ers had every single motive to make it work with Trey Lance. They traded a massive amount to move up and get him, right?
Yes.
And Brock Purdy just beat him out. And it didn't work within that scheme. And Trey Lance was then traded to the Cowboys, where you're not really doing anything there either. So, like, there's also the element of it's really difficult to be an NFL QB. I know, shocking, breaking news. And some of these guys are not going to work out. But I agree with you when it comes into, like, look at Jordan Love, for example. If Jordan Love starts year one or year two, he is not looking the way that he's looking right now. A lot of that is Tom Clements coming back and, like, working with Jordan Love and developing him, because that's what I mean. There is development that goes on that's not just on the field. So I agree that you can make that argument that Anthony Richardson has so little play time, and everybody can see the flashes.
And he had little play time at college, right? Like, correct. And I think I'm not trying to like derail your thought here, but Richardson, Trey Lance, and Zach Wilson, not a big sample size in college.
Correct.
I think because one of the other tweets I saw is like, the quarterbacks should start at least 2 years in college. And that's probably true. Especially now that you can make money playing college football. Like, stay there, develop another year if possible. I think this specific list, those three players there's a caveat there because, they didn't play like Bo Nix played 24 years in college.
Yeah.
He was there forever. Like, you got a ton of reps. Anyway.
But to the point that I'm making is, like, with Richardson, you need to see him play.
Sure.
But at the same time, there needs to be that development off the field. And throw on top of that, and this is a very important caveat, this past Sunday, the excuse given, I know it's blown up by the media and fans and stuff, but how does that sit in the locker room? Right? Because it's what you said of there's a guy that you can win with, and that's Joe Flacco. That's one thing. But then there's the second thing is if you have Anthony Richardson, and again, I'm not trying to speculate or anything like that, but if that plays a role in it of, hey, like, I'm tired, I'm going to sit out, I don't know how well that's going to go over with other NFL players who are fighting for a roster spot, who are fighting for a job, who are trying to win.
Yeah.
And I think, with Flacco, who brings that veteran presence and also, like, can win, I think that could also impact that. So it's a tough situation to be in, because I think the first response would be, well, just throw him out there, and however he plays, he's going to play, because he's got to learn, right? And at least what you have then in Anthony Richardson. The problem is like the Colts kind of want to win right now. I don't know how far they can go, but as long as that development happens while Anthony Richardson's on the bench, that's what's going to make or break his career with the Colts. If he can learn, like if they can have that off the field development, then there's a chance that it's successful.
Yeah.
But,
and I think with the Colts specifically, Richardson's going to get another shot there. This is not like we're moving on from Richardson. With the Bryce Young benching, it felt a little bit more like that. And I don't think the Panthers are necessarily going to move on from Bryce Young. I think we just know David Tepper's a little crazy in Carolina, so like anything is possible. I think there's a good chance, Shane Steichen is still the right guy to work with Richardson. And Richardson does one thing very well, and that is throw the ball very far down the field and get completions, as this chart would show you here.
Yeah.
It's all the other things, he needs to work on. It's the short and intermediate passing game. He misses throws that you just can't have your NFL quarterback missing. So there's athletic tools there, and it's just a curious thing to see him not want to like deal with the pains of him working through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you get much better at it without, playing. So the Colts are in a predicament.
Oh, yes. No, and it's a tough situation to be in, right? If you're Indianapolis, because, they went in and there was also hesitation when they drafted Anthony Richardson, because again, you're drafting him knowing that you're going to have to develop him. Like he is going to be a quote unquote project QB that you're going to have to work with. It's going to take time to develop. And that's what Jordan Love, like that last year, like throwing all those interceptions, I was like, okay, that's why I said on draft night that he's the perfect guy to learn behind Aaron Rodgers. The problem is that Hall of Fame QBs don't grow on trees. And so when you bring them into situations like a Bryce Young, who's thrown into one of the worst teams in the league, not thrown in there, and also doesn't look good, right? Because there got to be some personal accountability too. Like it's tough, man. Like Bryce Young goes out there and starts like the rest of the season. You think that's gonna go well? I don't know. And it's not even, that's before even Bryce Young takes a snap. It's gonna go potentially poorly because there's just not a support there. And I think that you're having this camp of pro Richardson or pro Colts where the whole thing needs to be looked at and be like, yeah, can you develop this guy? And if the answer is yes, then it's like, okay, how do you do that? Is it through more playing time, or is it sitting on the bench and learning from Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
Last question. Oh yeah, we saw that insane. Oh
yeah, that play was crazy.
He's like he's coming back in the stadium on Wednesday. They're like, oh yeah, he's not banned for life or anything like that. I was like, bro,
let him back in, baby.
That's it.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Hope you feel better. Let's go.
Take some Dayquil on my behalf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Rodgers, all that cayenne pepper now. I am.
Oh yeah, you know what's gonna fix everything? Some lemon juice and cayenne pepper. I'm going on a cleanse. Okay.
They're playing the Strouds.
She's down to I'm gonna try anything.
Yeah.
Anything except be better at football.
If he's like ready to go at all, young forever, I mean, they're probably gonna start him, but I agree with you. There's no benefit in risking potential long-term injury if he's not ready to go.
So you guys got one game till the bye, right?
Yeah, it's literally this game against the Lions, which is a huge game, right? Don't get me wrong, but thankfully Evan Williams, Jair Alexander, and Jordan Love all avoided significant injury, which is thank God, because we need all three of those folks. And while it is against the Lions, and I would love to win against the Lions, or at least just like see us how we're going to compete against them, because I think it's a great test for both teams. Yeah, it's just not worth it to have Love rest for a couple weeks. But again, I trust the medical staff. So
I trust that Jordan Love knows whether his groin is ready to go or not.
Teams cannot afford to do that. Teams cannot afford to be the Packers.
And there's a team that kind of is doing it, possibly in the Falcons.
Yes.
And what happened to the Falcons? They caught a ton of shit for it. So
it's also different from the way the Packers did things, by the way, because you're drafting guys in the 20s and not top 10. That's a huge difference. But yes,
I think like it's you got to take the guy when he's going to be available. We'll see if that works. And they had just signed, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
and the Falcons continue to have absolutely no pass rush. Yeah. None. Zip. Zilch. Zero.
Yes.
So when we're talking about a team like the Lions, possibly going after Za'Darius Smith, who's the current hot name that could be dealt.
Have fun, Lions. Sorry, again.
It's the Falcons are the other team that's in the mix there. Like they need pass rushing help. They tried to get it when they acquired Matthew Judon. I think they have like 6 sacks this season total. The Falcons. Let me see. NFL team stats, sacks. And sacks aren't everything, but like it is a glaring hole for that team.
Mm-hmm.
What were you taking notes on there? What you taking notes on?
The games that are coming up, so we can talk about those. That's it.
Oh, there we go.
Sacks. William, I hope things get better soon, my friend. Let's go.
Falcons 6 sacks. Panthers 9. Dolphins 9. Bengals 12. Those are your bottom 4.
Packers aren't doing great in the sack number either, but their secondary is playing better. So,
dude, Packers are actually, you guys are in the top 12 in sacks.
Woohoo! Doesn't feel like it. Don't feel like it at all. I think, Brody, it's a good question, right? And I want to be very clear. I am not equating both of these players. But we said the same thing after Mike Tomlin got rid of Antonio Brown and was like, bro, Mike Tomlin should get a thing. Yeah. But like you have Mark Murphy spoke out and called him a complicated fella and got a ton of crap for that. But at the same time, Brody, like Rodgers had been there for nearly 2 decades, knew the system, and it is a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? So like you kind of just rock with it and go, all right, you know what? Like
he was good. That's why he was playing. He plays out of his mind. He's 41 now, and he's coming off an injury. I think if he stayed healthy last year, we'd be talking about it quite a bit differently.
Completely agree.
It's not even that just that he's not playing to the level we've gotten used to Aaron Rodgers. It's just like so many things on the Jets aren't as good, and their defense is not as dominant as it was last year. And I think we talked about how hard it is to maintain an elite defense year over year. And this was like the 2nd or 3rd year in a row. We're like, damn, that Jets defense, very, very good. Mm-hmm. After a while, like you got injuries or you just have like guys not playing quite as well. Like teams have a better blueprint on how to attack you. It's like a whole bunch of shit. So
yeah, no, I agree. Colin, I don't think it
run game at.
Colin, I don't think it helped. Right. So like you could speculate all you want.
Yeah.
It didn't help.
No,
there's no world where it was like, guys, he's tired. Did not help. And again, like this also comes from a place of when I'm also saying developing, like obviously the on the field performance is the most important thing. But like, yeah, my dude, like your PR team's got it. Like the Colts, they got to do a much better job because that response is going to be taken by fans and is going to be run with into the ground. Like that did Anthony Richardson no favors whatsoever.
It's usually like we're applauding honesty, right? This is one of those situations. And if he were, I don't know, like a 10-year veteran who had a ton of success, he would have gotten a pass. Been like, I needed a break.
Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, if you won a lot of games, like whatever. He needed to lie. And he just said, like, I thought I felt something a little weird in my neck or shoulder or whatever. Sure. I thought something was hurt for. It quickly went away. I got back out there. Like if he would have said that, would have been like, oh, okay.
Because I mean, you made a great point on GPS on Monday that was like relayed because this was talking about on Monday's stream and everything. It's like he hasn't played a ton of games, right? And he's been out and stuff like that. So the conditioning might just not be there, which is a very like, yeah, I understand. Like I can empathize with that. But yeah, no, that does not come out of your mouth.
I was like trying to find like a reason to give him like a little credit, but
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, yes, you are.
It's true.
You are 100%. You can be way too old to get into Pokemon.
Oh my god. Traded Caleb Williams for Bo Nix.
Bo's actually been a very nice fantasy quarterback because he runs with the ball, he rushes for touchdowns. And he's quick. I saw a stat about him hitting runs of over 15 miles an hour, more than like a handful of running backs or some shit this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's sneaky fast, that Bo Nix.
Hey, if it helps, it helps.
He's had a great month. He's not perfect. He's got a lot. He's still got a lot in terms of how he needs to develop. But for fantasy, I don't think it's that bad. Oh, yeah.
Halloween birthday. Let's go.
That's a cool birthday, I think. Halloween.
That's pretty dope. I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's I think with Richardson, ultimately, it's gonna just come down to like how does he respond, and I think that was a great point, from what Marvin said. Like, I don't think that this is hey, this is how it's gonna be forever, but you just hope that it's a learning opportunity, right? Like, what happens next is gonna be dependent on Richardson. So, I mean, Izzy, that's a problem too, and Brady has talked about that too, right? Like, he had that interview clip that like went viral a while ago. That was talking about how like in college, like they're not teaching them like how to read defenses. They're not teaching them like all this other stuff and like how to like truly develop into a quarterback. Yeah. And again, you got to take it with a grain of salt because, Tom
Brady is definitely the old man of NFL talking.
But at the same time, like, yeah, it also, and I say this all the time, the NFL is 32 different businesses, right? Which not only means financially and all that stuff, they're doing things differently, but it also depends on like what they're doing on the field and what they're putting out on the field and how they develop quarterbacks, how they develop players, how they draft, etc. So that also gets to be taken into account of.
Yeah. One thing Brady continued to say from like that soundbite was like college players coming into the league also don't know how to shower correctly in the locker room. I don't know why he said that, but he was very critical of the way young players were showering.
What are you saying, Brandon? What are you doing?
Just saying, Tom Brady got an eye on the showers and the young guys coming into the league. Critiquing how they soap up, water temperature, whether they wear flip-flops or not. Nobody talks about that part of what Tom... Don't get mad at me. I'm not the one who said it. That was Tom the whole time.
It's not looking good, Robert. It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
I think the Jets are favorites, though. They're like 1.5 point favorites.
I mean, so unfortunately for the Texans, Stefon Diggs out for the year, which it sucks. That sucks that that happens. They're already down Nico Collins. So
yeah, they need John Mechie to step up, and I think he will. My prediction, he will. Yeah, that's rough. It sucks because you brought in Diggs to have depth at receiver, right? And Nico Collins, I think, is it a hamstring injury that he had?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I forget what his injury is, but you're like, okay, this is exactly why we got Diggs. Get us through this stretch where we don't have Nico, and now Diggs is done for the season. So
yeah,
that sucks for the Texans, but I think they'll figure it out. I think like teams that are good, where their quarterback's playing really well, and they have a leader as a head coach, I think they get through these issues. I think the Texans are in that same boat. I think, like, to me, they're kind of like the Lions in the AFC. In the AFC, like,
you have a lot of confidence
about how we're going to approach handling these issues, and they've got a good defense. They're getting great pressure from both of their edge players. So beat those Jets, please, Houston, because we're doing a Jets video, and if they win, it's gonna put another kink in my approach.
Gunslinger, just don't be ripping off people. Gunslinger, that's what I want. It's so funny too because like that's the conversation. Like he has done.
Oh yeah,
Jordan Love has done more good than harm on the football field. Like yeah, he's got more interceptions than Aaron Rodgers would throw, but also like is leading them to success. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it. So just gonna say. But yeah, I think ultimately, we'll see kind of where, just to run back to the Colts real quick, where things land. Because that's they got some tough decisions to make. Because do you rock with Flacco, and if you start winning and you go on a run, do you throw Richardson back in, or are you like, all right, let's throw Flacco in there? Because let me be also very clear, the Colts aren't amazing with Joe Flacco.
No,
like they're not an incredible football team. But if they're able to string together a few wins, then there's a decision that has to be made about this season. Like it's the opposite. And we were talking about this too. And Ryan Fitzpatrick also brought this up. I saw after GPS about Rodgers. If they lose 2 more games, Rodgers play.
Yeah.
He
It's like,
keep
what
going.
kind of, because Fitzpatrick's like, we'll find out what kind of like leader he is.
I literally said that on GPS, and I was like, that's what I'm curious about, because this could go, like, if they lose on Thursday night, they'll have 10 days and stuff. They can lose maybe one more game. And then after that, so Noble, sorry, that's what I meant to say before. Your teams can't afford to do that. They can't afford to be the Packers, because one, you need to have a starting quarterback that is actually reliable, that, hopefully you could develop your QB behind. But two, look at who's getting the majority of quarterbacks. These top prospects. 90% of the time, it's the worst teams in the league, right? They're the worst team in the league for a reason, whether it's bad offensive line, whether it's bad coaching, where it's what have you. So if you're a GM or a head coach and you're going, all right, I'm trying to save my job because we obviously sucked last year because we're in this position to draft a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
They need to start him because they need to be relevant, and they are trying to save their jobs. Like, let's just say, I'm not saying that's not the case, but like Caleb Williams, right? All the talk has been about Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams doesn't work out, like, everyone's losing their job. Aaron Rodgers, that doesn't work out, everyone's losing their job. Like, that's, people have already lost their job. And I think, the Colts, like, it could trend that way, but we got to wait and see.
And Caleb didn't go to the worst situation with the Bears either. They weren't the worst team in the league. They just had the Panthers draft pick.
Correct.
If Caleb went to Carolina,
oh boy,
we'd be like, oh God, he's not that good. Like,
sure.
He's not elevating that team to the level they would need to be elevated to for them to be winning games right now. Yeah. And I think he's a better NFL quarterback, or will be a better NFL quarterback than Bryce Young.
Sure.
But that would have been a tough situation to go to for Caleb this season.
For anybody. I mean, that, again, it's my favorite what if. Is CJ Stroud, he goes to the Panthers last year? No. Again,
I think he's better, but like, than Young in that situation, but
I don't think he's very good.
You got to be able to win those games.
If Tomlin was like, hey, because they tried. They really did try to pick it. And granted, didn't have the best supporting cast around him. Yeah. But I don't think he's that good. So let's see. Well, and that's you go to the front office to this point, John, too. Like, there's criticism there as well. So, I mean, again, QBs, there are things that they have control over, and there's a lot that's out of their control. Being sent to organizations that maybe just don't have the greatest support staff in place, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So, starting over Dak, well, that just makes sense.
There you go. Yeah. I think I've had Dak on one of my fantasy teams, but I had Jaden Daniels. I haven't started Dak all year.
No, why?
I was going to start him last week when Jaden was, we didn't know if he was starting. And as soon as I found out Jaden was playing, I'm like, you're in. You're in, Jaden.
Yeah, 100%. Because why not? Why not? So, King Big Bet. Yeah, it's wild. Like, and I think that also, like, oh, what's so good about Mike Tomlin? Like, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when they traded him? It was a 5th round pick, right? A 5th round pick to the Raiders. And everyone's like, oh my God, the Steelers got fleeced. Like, that was horrible. And my man, like, didn't play a snap for them.
No, that was one of the worst. That was one of the most bizarre situations I've ever watched unfold.
Yeah.
And the Raiders were excited to get Antonio Brown.
Yes, they were.
He was the best receiver in the league when that happened. And everything went to hell after that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to talk about the Steelers and talk about Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You were so funny on Twitter, my friend.
People, I forgot to put the sarcasm thing because, like, you responded. I was like, how could we? I saw so many stupid effing Broncos games last year.
I know.
Right. And I was like, oh, no, like, I know, guys. I meant the winning part because, like, that. But it's funny. Because,
what's so funny is after that, and everybody was laughing at me. Oh, boy, the winning part. Stupid Perna. And what does Russell Wilson do? He gets sacked in the red zone, and then he fumbles the ball late in the game. And I was like, oh, my God. I actually, at that point, just to go back to that tweet, I wanted the Steelers to lose. People would have called me a Russell Wilson hater. No, I just wanted to be right about my fucking tweet at that point. But, like, that's the Russ experience, though. And you watch those games with me. He's going to give you 3 or 4 throws that you're like, damn, that is a perfect throw.
Yeah.
He has still got it. But he's also going to make mistakes he shouldn't be making for a guy who's played as long as he has. The difference, and it's ironic because he would have this in Denver right now if it had worked out. The Steelers' defense is the difference for Russell Wilson. He fumbled late in that game. They just shut down the Giants, and it was Dan Jones. Maybe a different offense. It's actually something we're talking about. And the Steelers are running the football really well the last 2 weeks with Russell Wilson. If he has a run game, he can do pretty much most of the shit he did his entire career and still be successful. So, and yeah, he's going to give you those highlight, beautiful, deep balls. He does it as good, if not better, than anybody in the league. And I said that last year, like the Bills game, that Cortland Sutton pass in the end zone, it was literally the most improbable completion of the entire season. And it was both Russ and Sutton on that one. It was Russ put it in a place only Cortland could make a play. And then Cortland made an insane grab. And he did that like once a game, I felt like.
Yeah. No, like, because he could still play. Like,
he's got a beautiful ball.
The deep ball is good middle of the field. Well, that's a different story. Mason, happy belated birthday. But at the same time, like, that is also an issue with Wilson of like, you get the good and the bad. And then it comes down to like the support around him, whether it's the defense, the offensive line, the run game, etc. That's going to make a huge difference. And I feel like with the Broncos, some of those aspects were like missing. And that's also, I think Sean Payton also hated him too, which doesn't help. But
no.
Yeah. And then also Johnny just sent me this. So Steichen, Joe will be our quarterback going forward. Gives us the best chance to win right now. Not giving up on Anthony Richardson. It was my decision.
Bam.
There you go.
Steichen, I think Steichen's a very good offensive coach. I think he'll figure it out with Richardson. He's also a no bullshit guy. I don't think he's going to deal with too much, bullshit. And I base that off of the way he looked at Gardner Minshew when Minshew missed that throw to end their season. It looked like, and he likes Gardner. The reason Gardner was there is because Steichen likes Gardner Minshew, but it looked like he wanted to murder Gardner Minshew after that play, and they did not bring Gardner back after that as well. So,
It's true, Marshall.
No patience.
No, they ain't a doctor. I
know I said Drew Lynch was coming on today. I'm double checking. I haven't heard back. I don't know if he's going to get in. As of last night, he was absolutely coming on. He is. I haven't heard from him. So just an FYI, he's got 17 minutes. Maybe he'll get in here, maybe not. But I just texted him to double check. So
Victoria, I understand. I don't think anyone's overreacting. I think for me personally, like with the Vikings, like I don't think they're a bad team now, but I think their defense, there is definite concern there with how many yards and points they're giving up. One, after like their really successful start to the season, that's one. And then two, Darisaw being out, like that's a huge problem, right? Like that on the O-line, like that does not help the team. When they get TJ Hawkinson back, that's going to help the team. But are they going to be able to make up for that? And that's why they're making this trade, which I don't know if it's really going to solve too many problems, but yeah, that's the bigger issue, I think, kind of going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it depends on the situation. Like let's put it this way. Josh Rosen, right? Josh Rosen gets drafted by the Cardinals. They sure as hell could use a quarterback. Try to rock with him, and they're like, nope, that's not it. Ship him off. He doesn't really do better anywhere else. And I remember, like, there was a time like, should Josh Rosen like get a chance? Like, there is the element, and I'm not saving face for any organization. There is also like some QBs just they don't got it.
Yeah,
like you draft wrong. You draft the wrong guy, and that's valid. And that's why I want to be like careful with that list. Because yes, I do think that organizations 1,000,000% fail quarterbacks. 1,000,000%. There's also situations where like the quarterbacks are just not. They ain't the guy.
Yeah, there are young quarterbacks who let down the organization, but that's a tough thing to say because so much pressure is put on them going into that situation.
Ironside, this is a good moment. Head coaches are not making trades. It's the general manager's job to add players to their squad. That is not the head coach's job. So you could have them work together. That's surely fine. But at the end of the day, like in an organization, you're going to have the GM deciding who's getting traded for or
Yeah.
not. Like,
also, the Bengals front office and ownership situation, very different than I would say 90% of the other teams. I listened to Andrew Whitworth talk about the Bengals yesterday and how he ended up leaving the organization. And he was as complimentary as you can be about the Bengals. And the take there was they suck at dealing with players. And that's what makes it look even worse. Like Andrew Whitworth talked like 6 minutes about how he liked being in Cincinnati. He had been playing really well and he just wanted to be paid fairly. And they drafted 2 tackles, so the writing was on the wall. And he talked to Mike Brown, and everything was going to be good. Mike Brown's like, yeah, you do deserve more money. Let's get you a new contract. But Mike Brown wasn't really running things. It was his kids or whoever. And they were like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he left.
Yeah.
So with trades, with T. Higgins, with getting those guys paid, with anything going on with the Bengals, I would not count on anything, which is kind of crappy.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, I will never stop. Again, it's just a perfect week-to-week league. Eagles fans a month ago, fire everyone. The season's over. Might go to the championship now. That's not you, Xavier. It's just, just got to wait sometimes. Sometimes you just got to have a little patience. We're going into November football. Like, November football is important. Not for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl, but like you are going to get more of consistency from the good teams. And like I said this during power rankings were tough this week, right? Like the Packers are super high up. They barely beat the Jaguars. Now they had some massive injuries and stuff, but like you're looking at the Lions and Chiefs are playing the best football there is. And the Chiefs still like, I don't want to say struggle, but like they not the cleanest game against the Raiders. So
no, I think you got the Lions and then you've got all the other good teams right under them. The Chiefs, the Bills, the Vikings, maybe, Texans, maybe, Packers, maybe.
If your front office is listening to social media based on what they should do, you have the wrong front office. And there's no disrespect here to any of the talking heads. If there is an organization that is listening to any one of us, right? And I'm saying even journalists, I'm saying YouTubers, I'm saying whatever, and saying, oh, well, this guy thinks I should bench him, so I'm going to do that, then you are in the wrong profession and you should not be running. Like, you are not hired to listen to social media. Your social media team is hired to listen to social media and provide content that is going to appease fans.
Yeah.
See, JWC, if that is the case, then bro, then there's deeper problems within your organization. So,
dude, I think we should have a social media GM though.
Hell yeah.
Whoever wins the Super Bowl, they have to do the next season with a social media GM and watch how their team collapses.
Perna, we were freaking robbed.
We were?
See this BS?
No.
Look at this.
Yeah, I did. You
kidding me, man? Listen, Jason Kelsey's great. He's a great looking man, right? Travis Kelsey's dating Taylor Swift. I get it.
But
over Grossi and Perna, come on now.
Yeah. Hey, buzzing pop.
How dare
you just got popped.
Insane. Oh yeah, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. That was
Oh yeah.
That
was, but here's the thing about that play, like that play would have worked if the Giants linemen blocked there. They were not, I don't know what they were doing.
They're beating the Giants.
They were looking at Daniel Jones throw the ball to was it Neighbors behind him?
Neighbors, yeah.
And they literally just let Pittsburgh, like there was a miscommunication. There was something there. Like the play design, they actually got the look they want. There was 1 or 2 Steelers there and like 4 Giants linemen. They would have walked in, but they didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
I said, I think that's the most poorly executed play I've ever seen. And it might be worse than that Colts play. Cause I was like, man, Chuck Pagano's having PTSD seeing this shit. His play, the design was stupid, but I think
it's pretty great, Justin.
They're in that situation. the center and whoever the ball went to, they were going to try. They just didn't have an option. It just got blown up.
Yeah.
The Giants blew themselves up. I think they actually kind of tricked the Steelers there, and they just couldn't do it, which makes
they just didn't block anybody.
Comical. It makes it comical.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. No, I don't think that makes a difference in the outcome of the game.
I don't think so either.
God, that's an all-time like just terrible looking play.
And again, from the Giants, who are already a dumpster fire right now, it's just not good. But Justin, like what we've been talking about this entire show. Like you look at the Sam Darnolds, you look at the Baker Mayfields, you look at the Joe Flaccos and stuff, like being a veteran in the NFL, like there is a value that's attached to that when it comes to experience. And I'm just talking about within the locker room, but also like on the field play that you are going to have that you didn't have when you were a rookie or even when you were in your prime. And I think that's super valuable to an organization, especially if you have a young QB that you can step in and you could be successful in other areas that a rookie just hasn't had a chance to experience yet.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's what you're seeing a lot of right now. Like Sam Darnold being able to come in and being like, hey, I can operate this way. And again, like the past few, I haven't done the best games, but like still a very good quarterback that can obviously win and like keep it clean. Look at Jared Goff, dude. Like we were talking about Jared Goff of like dragging his ass to the Super Bowl and him being a dog crap quarterback and being awful. And he gets put in a system where the team believes in him. He's put in the best position to succeed, right? Has all like the offensive line help, has one of the most dynamic run games in the league, has an elite wide receiver, has a good defense. Like, and look how well Jared Goff is doing. And I want to be very clear, like Jared Goff also deserves a lot of that praise too. It's not just the Lions organization, but that's also the part of coaching and GM, like being a GM, to put forth the best team as the GM and also the coach to put your players in the best position to win and game plan for Jared Goff to be successful. Right.
And like the Lions started with like building the offensive line in front of it. One of the best things you can do for your quarterback. And then Jared Goff's playing so well. You have Bill Belichick telling Goff that he doesn't think there's an offense or a defense in the league that can slow down the Lions offense right now. You've got Bill Belichick saying you guys are doing everything so well, like nobody can actually stop you. And I don't think Bill Belichick like just says that shit for fun. Somebody else was comparing Jared Goff to Joe Montana. I was like, okay, well, we'll see about that one. But like, that's how good he's playing. That's how good everybody in that organization is functioning outside of maybe Jameson Williams. I don't know what continues to go wrong with Jameson Williams, but I do like that a cop showed up who was a Lions fan, and the reason Jameson Williams didn't get in trouble and now this is being investigated is because the cop was a Lions fan. I want to see more police showing their team loyalty like that man. He is a hero. The body cam footage shows his Lions screensaver. It's perfect.
Jeffrey, yeah, I see this take too. Like, go back and watch that game against the Browns. The reason that the Ravens lost ain't Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
It ain't Lamar Jackson. So, like, it helps, but the concerns about the Ravens are their defense. That's the concern, like, going forward. Because, especially this season, I agree with you. Right now, just the way the Lions are playing, like, it seems like they're kind of sitting above. Obviously, the Chiefs are still undefeated. But it really seems like, okay, none of this matters until we get to the postseason, one. But it's about finding the Ravens defense. This is where they could lose, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like every team right now has that. Like there is not a team, besides, of course, the Chiefs being undefeated, but they still have flaws. Like every single team, I think this season has flaws, and it's just ranging from massive to like they can live with it and go week to week, right? Like the Lions pass rush, yeah, that's probably like that should be addressed, or like that could be a problem later down the line when they're in the playoffs and the margin of error is so small.
But it's literally like their only issue too right now.
I know, it's about mitigating that, right? Like that's the question, it's about mitigating that and saying, okay, can you still go and win even being flawed? Because I'll tell you, every single team that's won a Super Bowl, the vast majority of them have had flaws, right? Like I think in the 96 Packers, who win Super Bowl 31, who had the number one offense, number one defense, and number one special teams. That doesn't happen very often.
Sure.
So it's about, okay, yeah, maybe our pass rush isn't so great, but our secondary is really good. Or maybe like our run game's not that great, but our pass game is really, really good. And so I think kind of going forward, especially with a team like the Ravens, I think they have the talent to blow out teams. I think they have the talent to win football games. It's going to be a matter of, do those flaws, are they exploited in the postseason when it matters by a team like the Chiefs? And can they overcome those?
Yeah.
That's football, baby.
They would add, I think the announcer said 3 dropped interceptions by their defense. And that final drop by Kyle Hamilton one's unforgivable. It was thrown right to him. It was Jameis Winston doing exactly what Jameis Winston does. And then he drops it, and then Jameis Winston does the other thing he does and pushed the ball downfield and scored. But
yeah,
I think it was Kurt Benkert breaking down the Ravens defense and just showing how they are out of position frequently and they're just not in the right places. And that's probably like growing pains of losing Mike McDonald. So luckily you have time to hopefully get it right if you're the Ravens, but who knows?
Yeah. Hey, a 40 for Perna for your 40th.
Go Birds. Thank you, computer lenses.
Let's go. Let's go.
There's 4 minutes left in the show. I still haven't heard back from Drew. So not coming, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry he's not coming. But yesterday, absolutely, I can do tomorrow. I'm on Eastern Standard Time now. I gave him the correct time. I was double checking that.
I was about to say, because that's I've been in that situation. It's all good.
Come in at 11:30. Something's probably happened.
It's all good.
He might be dead. He could be dead right now. So we'll get him. My point is,
you better pray that nothing has happened. You better freaking pray. Because that's going to be like Curtis cursing people.
All right. He will get back to me. We will get Drew Lynch on here. I promise.
I think that's a really good, but that's good coaching, and right. And that's a mark of a good team, right? Every single QB has their strengths and weaknesses. But it's up to the coach to put them in that best position to call the game plan that's going to really, not exploit but enhance their strengths. Absolutely. But Perna, speaking of, what do you got coming out?
Power rankings will be out today.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Dangerous. Who do the Steelers play next?
They're on a bye, so they're playing the Commanders the next time they come back.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
That should be a really fun game. That should be a really, really fun game.
What do you have coming out today, Tom?
Yeah, I got to record predictions, so that will come out later tonight. I know I wasn't able to do if Monday Night Football was scripted yesterday. We had rankings, Chaotic Good Sports. I also had to go vote yesterday. Go vote. And then today I'm going to probably do if Monday Night Football was scripted. I know it's a day late and less people will care, but I'm also going to incorporate some of the World Series stuff that happened yesterday.
Nice.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Before the show, I told Tom I watched more Coach yesterday.
Yes. Hold on. In the last 2 minutes, we could talk about this. So nearly finished Coach season 2.
Yeah. I got like 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes left in that last episode.
The switch.
Like my bedazzled football cup too. Ooh.
It's beautiful. All
Coach is it's popping. It's popping. Very impressed with Tom's work and Coach. Not gonna lie. I would say I still like season 1 better. That's my hot take. Now, I'm not saying that it is better than season 2. They are different.
Very different.
There is a lot more writing in season 2. There's some deeper themes. You really pushed your skill set as a filmmaker, which was very cool to see. But season 1, I still like. I like the simplicity of it. I liked I just like the dynamic between Coach and Tome.
Tom and Tome.
Tom, I was like, the one thing I felt like the season was missing was Tome. But then, like, literally as I was thinking that, 2 minutes later, I got the reveal of him coming back. So I'm happy he's back in it. But yeah, this punishment has not been as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Now, I have to ask, okay, so during your season 2 watch through, the vibes are completely
very different.
What do you think about the horror episode?
It all feels like one episode to me.
It's the season, the second episode, the Can You Run episode.
Oh yeah. That was a great moment too. Where
Can you run?
Yeah, after you twisted your ankle on the stairs.
God, it looks not good, but I was like, whatever, it's fine. Peter Griffin.
Yeah, there was a moment I thought, I was like, oh yeah, I like Tom pushing himself as a horror filmmaker too. And you realize that Jade wasn't real. That was great. It was all good. It was fun.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What QB is
season 3? I will stream on GPS Clips channel. So we're gonna have to find the right time. But we'll figure that out. But that's gonna have to happen kind of sooner rather than later. So
people want to know about the interview. People are asking about the interview.
No, I thought that was great. Like, I thought Tom definitely did a lot of things there from a video making perspective that are challenging, on top of like executing like your written idea. So at first I thought you were gonna do the whole thing where you guys were sitting across from each other. I was like, did this motherfucker time this out?
Dude, that's so difficult to do.
You feel like I was like, if you would have done that, I would have given you an Oscar. I was like, Tom is crazy enough.
Yeah.
You time out that conversation with two different people and take it over and over and over again until he got it right. Then you cut away. I was like, oh my God. Because the thumbnail there too is like both of you sitting there.
Yeah.
And then even, I think it was the start of that episode where it was you and Jade at the table.
Yeah.
And the framing was nice.
Thank
for
you.
like, it's just an indoor kitchen and then coach comes up between you. I was like, that's thoughtful. Like, he thought about that.
With my crappy editing back and like,
yeah.
There's
a lot of things you can watch for different reasons.
It's true. Hey, listen, I don't know. That's going to be the convincing, because you're going to come to the end of season 2 in a hot second. Then the decision has to be made.
We'll see.
All right. We'll see.
We'll see.
But folks, we'll be back on Friday. Maybe we'll have another guest. Maybe. Potentially.
Oh, was that ding? Was that you or me?
I did not get a ding. My phone. Are you kidding? My phone lives on silent. I get no notifications. I miss all my phone calls.
Yeah, it came through my computer. It was weird.
That's it.
Okay.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's good. It is more football, but think of Coach, like the storytelling and stuff, but just like in the lens of football.
Yeah.
Perna's like, I don't know. It's not.
We'll see.
Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Friday for another edition of the Grossi Perna Show as well. Oh, sorry. Tonight, also, members Q&A. Yes, I got to do that tonight. So, yes, that will happen probably around like 6:37. I just got to finish a few things. But, folks, I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's the belated birthday boy, Brandon Perna. Uh-oh.
I just heard from Drew. He said, fuck, did I miss it?
This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
Drew never reached his destination. We will get him, guys. We will get him.